Thanks for joining us. In order to support us to produce Clancy's Kitchen, you can donate as little as €5 or $5 a month and gain access to exclusive content. Just go to www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. That's www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. Enjoy the podcast. Hi everyone, we're really looking forward to bringing you lots of new content in 2026. But first of all, we'd like to take a look back at some of the highlights of 2025, the guests, the songs and the stories that we shared, which we hope you enjoyed as much as we did. So the year started with my brother, Finbarr Clancy of the High Kings, talking about his years on the road with the Clancy brothers and how Paddy Clancy could capture an audience. St. Patrick's Day, of course, was always a day where people would go the parades around the town, and I remember them being up on the horse and trap, what do you call it? The horse and
trap,
yeah, as dressed up as travellers. That memory stands out. And of course, Finbarr, you toured then with the brothers for a while, as you said earlier.
I did. I toured when in January of 1996 we went on a national tour. It was kind of farewell tour. And it was amazing. It was all over Ireland. In fact, Dad had come back at that stage because he'd recovered from his quadruple bypass. But they said, because at this stage, myself and Collie were doing all these songs, original rock songs, in keys that were way up there. And I used to do high harmony. So I started doing all these high harmonies to Clancy Brothers songs. And the lads loved it. They were like, we want you to keep going, like stay on stage. So what can you do? And I said, well, I play bass as well. So you have a very out of place looking bass player in an orange sweater, doing high harmonies on the farewell tour in it's on YouTube as well.
So did you
the Regal Theatre in Clonmel? Yeah. I was there and playing my precision bass and doing high harmonies.
Did you do high harmonies too, like the Jug of Punch and those kind of stuff?
No, not Jug of Punch. It was on its own, yeah. But, yeah.
Did you do the Jug of Punch?
We did the Jug of Punch, and it's amazing because Paddy Clancy, of course, was, that song will always be associated with Paddy. Mm. He was just, talk about having I think all the Clancys had it. And I was on stage with him every night and he told the same story, but even I was spellbound, listening to it every night. He just had a way of telling a story and the dramatic pauses and all that.
What was the story?
You absolutely.
The story going into the Jug of Punch.
Any story.
No matter what he was talking
what he's talking about. It wasn't there was a specific story that he told before the Jug of Punch, but it's just he just had a delivery and a way of telling a story, any story, or even talking, that would have you on the edge of your seat. He'd kind of leave things hanging in the air, and you're like, and then what happened?
Yeah.
But to see the effect. It's one of these great things to see, the effect a well-crafted song can have on an audience. And when he sang Jug of Punch every night, you could really see the audience drawn in, And it starts off very slowly and then it kind of slowly builds and,
Go on, give us
Would you like to hear
taste.
It? Yeah,
That'd be lovely, give us a taste.
This is for Paddy.
Memory of Paddy Clancy.
Paddy, Tom, Liam and Bobby, all of them. One pleasant evening in the month of June, as I was sitting with my glass and spoon, a small bird sat on an ivy bush, and the song he sang was the Jug of Punch. Tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay, tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay. A small bird sat on an ivy bush, and the song he sang was the Jug of Punch. What more diversion can a man desire than to sit him down, beside the fire? Upon his knee a pretty wench, and on the table a jug of punch. Tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay, tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay. Upon his knee a pretty wench, and on the table a jug of punch. Let the doctors come with all their art they will make no impression upon my heart. Even the cripple forgets his hunch when he's snug outside of a jug of punch. Tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay, tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay. Even the cripple forgets his hunch when he's snug outside of a jug of punch. When if I get drunk, well, me money's me own, and them don't like me, they can leave me alone. I'll tune me fiddle and I'll rosin me bow, and I'll be welcome wherever I go. Tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay, tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay. I'll tune me fiddle and I'll rosin me bow, and I'll be welcome wherever I go. And when I'm dead, I end in my grave, no costly tombstone will I have. Just lay me down in my native peat, with a jug of punch at my head and feet. And tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay, tooraloo-raloo, tooraloo-ralay. Just lay me down in my native peat, with a jug of punch at my head and feet.
Ireland's finest Bowron player, Donnchadh Gough of Danu.
I remember Ronnie Drew coming into Mooney's one day, going up to meet your father, and of course he walked all around the pub anyway. He sat at the bar, he was drinking a glass of wine. He walked, of course, Mooney's, there was photographs everywhere. So poor Ronnie walked everywhere. There was photographs of the Furies, Clonard, the Body Band, Clancy, the Clancy brothers, you name it. There was no Fury, no photograph of the Dubliners up on the wall. Man.
Oh,
And he walked out the door like a dog.
like that.
Yeah. No, you know what I mean? Like, huh?
Yeah.
I remember seeing Tommy Sands in the local.
Yeah.
Remember that, Róisín?
That's right, yeah.
And there's a great story, actually. It happened.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
mother, Anne, of course, is a legend, you know, here and in musical circles.
Anne was having like an ongoing conversation with him. He was trying to perform. And Anne was saying, Jesus, Tommy, do you remember the time you played in Mooney's years ago? Yeah. But I tell the story, because I remember it. So she said, your mother started talking about Tessie and kind of back in the day, and she was saying, as what Anne took over the gig nearly on Tommy that night, I think she started telling stories about Mooney's, and she said there was one time someone had put a bit of graffiti up in the toilets in the wall in Mooney's, and my grandmother Tessie called her in. What's this about? Look at that. What do they mean by that? And the graffiti was, this is where Napoleon pulled his bone apart. What do they mean by that?
I remember that.
A whole influence. You had Clancy's everywhere for the summers in Ring back in those days, before they all eventually settled and lived here.
That's right.
That was my, and that brought some buzz to the place, you know what I mean? It didn't, I suppose, Donal, you can talk about that coming home from America as a child and coming to Ring, you know what I mean?
Just to go back there, how my father first came to Ring, it was 1964, and it was Kieran Burke of the Dubliners who actually brought him here because he had been to Ring College. And my mother was only telling me about it recently. They had a tour, the Ballad Tour of Ireland, and they went to Carrick, and they said, Liam Clancy lives in this town. They went up, they found the house. Mammy Clancy went out and let them in. And she ran upstairs to my father, who was still in bed, and said, Willie, would you get up? There's big, hairy, beardy fellas downstairs.
And these were the Dubliners?
It was Barney McKenna and Kieran Burke.
Yeah.
Was Ronnie Drew there? He might have been. They weren't the Dubliners yet. There was no Dubliners.
Your mother, there was a band on them. There was a name on them, wasn't there? Yeah.
They were the Heads, I think, this year. But they weren't that. It was just a ballad tour that was put together. There was Peggy Jordan's daughter was on it as well. And my father said to his mother, look, send him down to P.T. Lawler's, the pub down the road, and I'll be down to him. So he called down and they started singing and drinking all day long, and they got so drunk that the concert was cancelled. And Barney McKenna worked with Telecom Éireann, I think, as a pole. He used to climb poles. So he went climbing the pole in Carrick, and there's a picture of him up in the pole. And the whole tour was cancelled after it. So the rest of the tour was cancelled.
Yeah.
And Ciarán Burke said, we'll go down to Ring. He went to Ring College. So they arrived down to Ring and they stayed in the college. And Tomás Kelleher was down there. He said, why don't you go up to Cody's and we'll go meet you up there. So
Because, of course, it was known as Cody's in those days, yeah.
Lovely.
Folk singer from Dunmanway, County Cork, Dan O'Sullivan. For you to have written to my father, having seen it, what was it about the Clancys for you, Dan, that inspired you so much, or made you want to meet them? And what was it all about?
I just was, I suppose, really taken with them, their personalities, their ways of performing, the poetry, their ways on stage. There was much more to it than singing, you know. Yeah. I mean, they were all great singers, but there was a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of layers to it, really.
Yes.
7 days are in a week in almost every circumstance.
Years since I heard this.
4 seasons in the year, that's what we learned at school. But never count your chickens when you're dealing with the women. Or as many's the wise man fell asleep and wakened up the fool.
Lovely, Dan.
It was my life story at the time. The first time I met my love, 'twas on a Monday morning. The second time I met her, it was Tuesday afternoon. When she kissed me on a Wednesday, I couldn't wait for Thursday. But I can tell you now, me boys, that Thursday never came. 7 days are in a week in almost every circumstance. 4 seasons in the year, that's what we learned at school. But never count your chickens when you're dealing with the women. For as many's the wise man fell asleep and wakened up the fool. Seven days are in a week in almost every circumstance. 4 seasons in the year, that's what we learned at school. but never count your chickens when you're dealing with the women. For there's many's the wise man fell asleep and wakened up the fool. I know there's another verse and I couldn't think of it.
Joanie Madden talks to us about 40 years on the road with Cherish the Ladies.
Having that legacy, I mean, the Clancy brothers' name in America, of course, was just it's as high as you go. Yeah. I mean, all the dozens and dozens and dozens of sold out concerts from Carnegie Hall to every place around the world, and I learned an awful lot about stagecraft from them. You know, yeah. I remember we were once we were hanging backstage at Chicago, and it was pouring rain, and so everybody had to go in the tent, and there had to be 20,000 people in this massive tent, and we got up to play, and we might as well have been as a fart in the breeze, as my father would say. You wouldn't hear they were all drinking, they weren't listening to us, there was nothing going on. And I go back, we were on before the Clancy brothers, and your dad was one of them there, you know. And I went over to them and I said, guys, forget it. I said, there's no reaching them. You're not reaching them. They're just like, no matter what we did, if we stood on our heads. So anyway, the next thing I do, I see them, I was over taking off my stuff off the stage, and I see them setting up 4 chairs. And I said, what are you doing? I said, no, they don't, they stand. No, they told us 4 chairs. I said, listen, I've been touring with them. Take the chairs off the stage. They don't use. Well, anyway, I see Liam and Bobby, put the chairs back on. I'm like, put the chairs back. Anyway, we get off. Talking at the roar of the crowd, you couldn't even hear us. Well, out they come, the 4 of them, and each one of them kicked a chair, flying off, land on top of tables, beer bottles flying, and the whole place heard this clatter and stopped. It was set up. And from the second they had knocked over, and they had the place in the palm of their hand, and had the crowd, and I just went, my God, I learned so much. The wind is taking it.
Róisín and Ryland remember Myra Clancy with poetry and song. A play that she won an award for in the All-Ireland. It was called The Honey Spike. There she is there. Oh, yeah.
What a great picture.
With Tom Nealon. God rest him. He's passed away recently as well.
Yes.
And The Honey Spike was a play written by Brian McMahon, and it was actually about the travelling people in Ireland, which were and probably still are very, very misunderstood. And it was written in 1961, I believe, and at that time in Ireland, you know, there wasn't an understanding really for the travelling community at all. They were very much on the margins of society. And I think even the government at that point was trying to get them to be settled community and very little understanding for their nomadic ways of life. So this book, The Honey Spike, by Brian McMahon, the whole story is about a travelling couple. So there's Martin and my mother play the role of Breda Claffey. And the Honey Spike is where she wanted to go to give birth to her child. And again, in the travelling community culture, you know, very strong beliefs and customs and traditions around giving birth to your child in a certain place. And it's a lovely story because it sort of deals with how it was changing, and the travelling community was changing a little bit at that time. And some of them were brought in by the government suggestion that they should be settled. And I guess this is all about their journey to Kerry, to the Honey Spike, where she wanted to give birth. But there's also the personal journey that they are going through, because her husband, Martin Claffey, was of a mind that maybe they should be settled.
Interesting theme,
isn't it?
It really is.
And she wasn't for this at all.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful piece, I might read it out.
So it's like, a play about modernity versus tradition. And the honey spike being the symbol of the things that are important to maintain in Brida's character.
Yeah. And I guess the journey there was arduous, and there was storms and everything, but I guess it's symbolic as well of the journey they were going through at that point as travelling people.
Maybe I'll put some music.
Would you actually maybe your Éireann Nínosan Cahí?
Yeah, I think she liked that.
Yeah, she loved that.
Yeah.
Okay. My mother, Myra, playing the role of Breda Claffey, and they're on their way to the Honey Spike, where she explains here the importance of this to her and what it means to her to give birth in this place. I'll not let this child be born in a cold hospital under the white lights with strangers staring. No, my child will be born at the Honey Spike, the way my mother was and her mother before her, among my own, on the land, on the road, in the place where the sky bends close and the stars know our names. They call us tinkers, but we have fire in our veins. We have stories older than stone. And this child will have a name rooted in the ground of Kerry, where I'll birth him with pride and pain. I've come too far to turn back now. Let the rivers rise and the winds howl. We go on. That's lovely.
To Moira.
Yes, to Moira. Uilleann Piper from the Cumra Mountains, David Power, with Baroque violinist and flamenco guitarist. You know, it's almost, even the introduction is like the Uilleann Piper, the Finnish Baroque violinist and the flamenco player from Kildare. It almost sounds like the opening of some kind of a magical story, doesn't it? And
Marx Brothers comedy, maybe.
Yeah, not at all. And your music is truly magical. I listened, unfortunately I haven't seen you live yet, but I'll definitely make the next one. But I've listened to a few tracks and it is absolutely sublime. I mean, it brought me to tears. It is absolutely beautiful. We'll let you talk through the process of it because you do a much better job than I would. David, if we come back to you, I suppose we know each other of old throughout the year. Your people and know my people, as they say, right? Throughout the years.
That's right.
And David, your music has taken you all over the world, really. So you've performed in places like the Sydney Opera House, to the Broadway stage in a Eugene O'Neill play, no less. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Starring Gabriel Byrne. And along the way, of course, you've won so many competitions. You are really a master of your craft. And I think what people say about you, David, is how innovative you are and how you keep pushing the boundaries with regards to the uilleann pipes.